Hi everyone! Today I want to share a new card I made using the Freezing Fun stamp set. This is a really cute stamp set from the new Fall Winter mini catalog, and it is really cute, and there are matching dies to cut out all the cute little pieces here. It cuts out I think every image except for the snowflakes, and really adorable stamp set. And I like this fun edition of, if you don't know what this is, it's like a little stitched hillside, so that you can make hills to have your little sledding friends and skiing friends slide down. And anyway, it's super cute, and I wanted to show it to you. The dies are called Freezing Friends, and if you buy the two together, you get a bundle discount of 10%. So look for the bundled item. And here's the card. Hope you think it's cute. I made a couple versions because I wasn't sure what colors I wanted to use on my penguin and my penguin's hat and scarf. So a few things when making the penguin. I learned that if I used dark black, which normally you think of a penguin as being a very dark black color, but you'll lose his eyes in the coloring. So then I did this one with the light basic black blends marker, but I used the dark smoky slate on his face so that I could still see his eyes, and then I wasn't quite sure I loved that, so then on this one I just used dark smoky slate on the entire penguin except for the little tuft of hair. You see he's got a little hair sticking. I don't know if penguins have a little tuft of hair, but it's cute under his little hat there. So anyway, this one is dark smoky slate, and this one is light basic black with a dark smoky slate face, and I think I like this version a little better rather than having the two tones on my penguin. So I thought we would make this card together. It's really simple. There's a lot of cute little elements that I want to show you, but first off, let's start with our stamping. So I'm using the tree, the little snowballs, and the penguin. And because I'm going to use Stampin' Blends, I need to use Memento ink. And that's because if you used Stays on Black is an alcohol base, and the blends are an alcohol base, and the two will bleed together, and you will have blurry penguins and things. So you want to grab your Memento ink for this. If you're using regular Stampin' Write markers to do your coloring, or watercolor pencils, all great options, then it doesn't matter as much. Well, watercolor, if you wanted to do that, then you're going to want to use Stays On. So I found a little scrap of Whisper White that I'm going to use. And I can't decide if I like the pool party hat and scarf or the Poppy Parade. I'm going to go with Poppy Parade on this one just because I made two of the pool party one already. So I'm using Stampin' Blends, and they come in a light and a dark. And so they're kind of nice because you can add shadows. This is a pretty small image, so there's not a lot of shadowing going on. But I like to do my blends light first. And you know, there's a few different ways of doing this. Some people like to do the dark areas first. I like to do the light area first, and then I add my highlights with the dark. So I'm going to do the side. I'm going to do under the little puff ball and kind of outline the side on the one side and around his face, and maybe just the curvature a little bit. And then I go back with the light, but this time I'm going to use the bullet end, the nib, and I'm going to kind of do little circles where those dark and light lines cross, and that kind of fades out the harsh line. Same thing on the scarf. I'm going to go with the light first. And then I'm going to add some shadows. I'm going to add shadow like where the scarf kind of curves a little bit. And then I'm going to go back over with the light and blend out those harsh lines. Oops, I went into his body a little bit there. that's Poppy Parade. Now I'm just going to use, the beak and the feet are so small, I'm going to go with just the dark pumpkin pie on that one. Okay, so this is light basic black, and I'm just going to use that for the little tuft of hair. And this is dark smoky slate, and I'm going to use that on the penguin's body. There. Super cute little penguin. And then for the tree, I used shaded spruce, and I'm using the dark and the light. And again, I like to do light first. And then I'm going to do dark shadow, like where the snow is overhanging the branches here. And then I'm going to go back with the light and blend out the harsh line. There. Alright, now I'm going to cut these out with the little dies, and I will be right back. Okay, another thing you want to cut out is the frame, and I've already cut that out, but I want to show you what I used. Now for the little frame, I used the Stitched Shapes dies, and those are kind of a staple, I think, for us. It's kind of a collection of shapes. Oops, my circles and squares got all messed up, but you get 4 each of the squares and the oval and the circle. And I used the largest of the squares for the outside of my frame because I liked that stitch detail, and I think it went nicely with the stitching on the little landscape. But for the inside, I used the layering squares dies. Now, if you don't have both, maybe you have the layering squares dies, you can use those. They have a scalloped edge, which is super cute as well, and I happen to have both, so I'm combining 2 different die sets. And sometimes when I'm doing a video, I don't like to do that because then people feel that they need to have so many products to make the card, and really you can use the layering squares dies, or you can use 2 different sizes of the stitched squares. So work with what you have, and if you don't have any, you can cut a square frame with your paper cutter, paper trimmer, and don't worry about the stitching edge. I thought it was a cute detail, and so I'm adding it, but you can do a simple card without it as well. Okay, so you need one of those, and then I needed a background for behind my little penguin here, and I'm using some designer series paper called, let's see, I don't have the names of these memorized yet, Snowflake Splendor, and it was perfect for my snowy background. I was going to use this one, but it was a little dark. Look how fun that is. And these are just wintry backgrounds, they've been watercolored and then scanned. So someone actually watercolored these and scanned them in, and look at how pretty they all are. And I really like these because they use just about every, look how pretty that is. And I like the watercolored blooms they've got going on here. They've used all the blues in our collection, almost all the blues, which I thought was really clever because you've got Pacific Point in here, Navy, Misty Moonlight, and then the Pool Party like I'm using. I believe there's even Coastal Cabana in here. So look at that. So this is going to go with so many different blues in your families that you have, and so you can really get a lot of use out of this. Maybe you don't have all the blues, but I love that they've combined so many so that just about anybody can use them with so many different. This is the one we're using. I've cut it all up, but I wanted to show it to you. I thought it was light, and it's got mostly Pool Party. Look at this one. So they did add in there a purple, and I believe, let me see which purple it is. So I think it's Gorgeous Grape, but I want to make sure. Maybe it's Highland Heather. Highland Heather. So I think the only blue that's not in here is the Seaside Spray. But I bet it would coordinate with that too, because there's so many just highlights and lowlights in here, so many different tones that I bet you could do it with Seaside Spray as well. Balmy blues in here. Aren't they fun? Super cute. So I've cut them down into 2.5-inch squares. So we need those. And then I've got your card base. For the card base, I'm using Pool Party. And then we've got some Whisper White that we need to bring in. And I've got a piece for the outside and a piece for the inside. And normally I make them the same size, but this time I decided I wanted to have the frame around my front. Let's show it to you again. I wanted the border to be a little bigger. So the border, when you cut, sometimes I cut an inside at 4 by 5 1/4, and that border is nice, but it's a little small, and I wanted it to kind of be more like the size of my frame. So this one I cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So I think that's all our pieces. Oh wait, no it's not. In the die collection is a little heart, and I think I cut out these ahead of time too, so I have a couple little hearts that I forgot to say that I was cutting out. And then I want to cut out this little landscapey piece. Now, if you're making a lot of these, I want to give you a couple more cutting tips. The square piece here, the frame, if you cut yourself a piece of Pool Party or whatever color you're using by 3 inches across, you can barely, as you can see I don't have a lot of space in between them, but you can barely get 4. So you can get 8 out of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and there's going to be a little strip left over for something else. So you can just get it. You have to be careful, so you're going to be really close to the edge, but you can just about get 4 out of your piece. And then when you're cutting your front panel, which is 3 3/4 by 5, you're going to have a strip of Whisper White left over, and that is the perfect thing to use for your landscape piece. So let me cut that. So how I'm going to lay that down is I'm going to do the full length like this, and that way I have, you can use the top side and the bottom side, which is really cool. So you can see I've cut myself a strip here, and now I need this to fit inside my 2.5-inch square. So I'm going to just trim that. I have my grid paper here on my desk, so I lay it up against the grid paper, and then I know where to cut it. And see, I can use both of them. I can use one for one card and another for the second card. So I'm going to work on this little square. I'm going to add my landscape piece and then my tree. And I want those to be flat, but then the little penguin, I'm going to pop up a little bit. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals. Put him here. And then of course I want these snowballs. So I'm going to put one snowball on the ground. And then I'm going to add that to the front of my card when we've got it all laid out. So how I did the Whisper White pieces, for the inside I grabbed here, so it must be on a block somewhere on my desk. Here it is. These little snowflakes, and I just did a little border of them down the side. I like to add something to the inside, but you don't have to go crazy. And then I added my sentiment. Let me put this to the side. Now for my sentiment, this is not a photopolymer set. This is one of the red rubber sets. So as you can see, the sentiment is not clear or see-through, which I've been getting used to. So now these red rubber ones make me a little nervous because I think, oh, is it going to be crooked? And so then I like to grab my Stamparatus. And it's funny because I never used to use it. And then just lately I've been using it more and more for my sentiments just to make sure they're not crooked. So as you can see, I've got one already set up for the inside, so let me go ahead and use it. And I used it with the paper all the way in the corner. And I already lined up my sentiment so I know exactly where it's going to go. Just love that it's perfect. And I made, I'm making these for a swap, so I made 12 of these, and it was so easy to just stamp, add more ink, stamp, add more ink, and I just kept doing it, and I was able to make all 12 in just seconds. It was great. And then for the inside one, this one is a little smaller. Is this the right one? Yes. And for this one, I kind of drew an outline of where, because it wasn't right on the lines like the 4-inch one, I outlined it so I know where it is. And I have, take this one off. I had it on another plate and then I moved it. So I'm going to try and line it up again. Let's see how I did. The nice thing is that there are, this mat here underneath I can stamp and then wipe it clear, or I have these paper mats that they sell, so I can stamp on there to make sure that I've got it correct before stamping on my actual cardstock. And I do. Okay, so let's put the real one down. There we go. I know it's nice and even, and it's exactly where I want it to be. So I love the Stamparatus for sentiments. Okay, so this is going to be the outside, and now we're going to lay our square down. What did I do with it? Here it is. Okay, now I wanted to add, let me show you, a little bit of shimmery ribbon. I'm adding some little shimmer. It's a little tab, you know, like a little tab on your jeans or something. And it goes with the shimmer on my snowballs and the tree. And that is also from the Fall Winter Mini catalog, and it's really beautiful ribbon. It's really nice and sparkly, and it's part of the Snowflake Splendor collection, so look for that. It's got the designer series paper I just showed you on the same page, and you just need the tiniest bit for this, so it's kind of nice. A little bit goes a long way, but that sparkle really shows up in person. So I'm just going to fold it over. And just for ease, I like to use glue dots because it's simple, but you can use your liquid glue also. Now another thing I want to do is just attach these all before adding the square. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Okay, so I'm going to add this little tab to the back of my square. And then because there's bulk here, I'm going to go ahead and add a glue dot just to the side where the edge is, because I know it's going to lift up there. And I want it to lay nice and flat. So I put it directly on the Designer Series paper just to the side of that ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. Okay, now those frames I cut earlier are going to come into play now. And you're going to grab some of this really awesome foam adhesive strips. I love these. These are great for shaker cards too. And you just go around your square. Go all the way around your square and lay it right on top. Okay, now I'm going to add the other snowflakes because I want one in his hand like he's about to throw it at us, and then one already out of the frame, kind of coming already past. He threw that one already. I'm going to put this one up here. I'm using glue dots for simplicity's sake. There we go. So now all that's left is to add shimmery crystal effects. Now this is was in the last year's holiday catalog, but it is now still available in the annual catalog, and it's really a fun little effect. There's little bits of glitter inside, and then it dries like this so you can see the shimmer, and it just really gives some dimension to those snowballs. I wish that it showed up really well on camera. I'm not sure if it does or not, but it does look really nice in real life. You do see the detail, and you want to do this last because you don't want to have to turn these pieces over to stick them to your card. It's just kind of nicer to let them dry in place, I feel. Oops, got a little heavy on that one. Let's see if I can pick some up. Going to add a little bit to the trees. Just a fun little dimension to the card. And adds a little sparkle. Oh, and I forgot to add the hearts. So let's do that. While I do that, let me tell you about my frequent buyer rewards. If you purchase through me, there's a tracking sheet on my blog, bethspapercuts.com, and you can download that and track your sales, or your purchases, I should say. And when you get to so many points, you get to choose a free stamp set. That's fun. And it's a way to get hostess sets if you like those. Here you go. I also have a newsletter that I send out weekly, and sometimes a little more than weekly if there's a special going on I want to tell you about at the beginning of a month or something. And so you can go to my blog, bethspapercuts.com, and a pop-up should appear to have you sign up for my newsletter. And in the newsletter I have color combo ideas and card sketch challenges and tutorials, and I'll keep you of course up to date on all things Stampin' Up, so you know what specials are coming and the latest paper pumpkin and all that great stuff. So you can sign up for my newsletter at either my Facebook page or my blog. Both of those are called bethspapercuts.com. So I hope you like my little freezing fun card. Here's that inside again. It says, sending warmth your way. I really like this for this time. Life's better when we're having fun together, because right now we're not really with our friends, are we? And this will be a fun one to send. Of course, it's not quite winter yet, but hopefully we will be able to see our friends in person before winter is finished. But if not, I will have a little card to send to a friend. And of course, we sometimes don't live next to everybody too. So this is a nice little card to send to somebody who you're thinking about this winter. And take a look at that fall holiday catalog. There's a ton of really cute stuff in there. That Snowflake Splendor Suite with that paper is gorgeous, and all kinds of fun things. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found something fun and inspirational. Bye.